I'm Sydney, and today I'm going to be talking about The Act. This series streams on Hulu, and new episodes are uploaded every Wednesday, which is really interesting. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just do it as a binge series. So technically, this wouldn't really fall under horror genre, but honestly, because the story is based off of true events, I think that like human nature is more horrific than anything else. So even though this is maybe more like true crime, I'm gonna talk about it. This week, March 20th, it premiered, and I watched the first and second episodes. For sure, this whole entire thing is spoilers, so if you don't want to know anything about the series, then don't watch this, but otherwise, here's what I thought. The episode starts off with what we know to be the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, if you knew anything about the case going into this show. And then after that, we're taken back in time to see what leads us up to June 14th, 2015. From a really surface level, it's really hard to see how any of this could have happened or how Dee Dee could have gotten away with this as well. So we're taken back in time after that to see how the grooming process started and how this was a very slow process. Patricia Arquette plays Dee Dee Blanchard, and she is so good in this role. Her accent is amazing. She just completely dissolves into the character. The first two episodes reveal a lot about that grooming process as well as the manipulative side of Dee Dee. The main grooming I'm talking about is how Dee Dee constantly keeps Gypsy in this childlike state. For example, Gypsy is 15 years old and she has her sitting in the sink like a baby to shave her head. She won't let Gypsy wear makeup even just for fun for an occasion. The crazy amount of toys that Gypsy has is insane because every time she goes to the doctor's office, she gets a new little plush toy, which reminds me of like going to the doctor, you get a lollipop like a little kid does. They sleep in the same bed together, and one part Dee Dee's like singing to her, "My baby." It's like really creepy. And then just lastly, overall, the fear that she's really instilling into Gypsy, for example, like if she has a sip of Coke, she could possibly die, which we find out later to not even be true. She's also very much manipulating and grooming her neighbors into feeling sympathy for her by cooking for them and putting on her southern charm and just super heavy-handedly playing up the sympathy card. And it's hard too because you do see the love that Dee Dee has for Gypsy, and watching it too, I believe that she believes everything she's doing is for the benefit of her child. But in reality and actuality, it's completely self-absorbed. And her thinking she's doing good for Gypsy is no excuse, obviously. I mean, we have to remember this is someone who's mentally ill and has this condition of Munchausen by proxy. Not only that, she's taking pills herself. She's stealing prescription pads. She's no good. Joey King plays Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So first off, the name Gypsy Rose clearly comes from the old musical Gypsy, which growing up, I saw Gypsy a ton. I had it on DVD with Natalie Wood, love it. If you know anything about the musical Gypsy, a huge part of the premise is that the mother is obsessed with her child or her children getting famous and her seeking that attention. So it's very self-aware that Dee Dee named her child Gypsy Rose, maybe super subconsciously, because that feels like a movie plot, like that someone would name their kid that when they're that self-absorbed, which is really weird. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, this poor girl. From having a feeding tube and all these unnecessary surgeries and her teeth and getting drugged, like not even to mention the physical, but like the mental, emotional abuse that she's having to go through, just so much trauma. And to be honest, I was having a really hard time buying Joey King's performance because her voice was very distracting to me. And I know that she's imitating the real life voice of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and anytime you're playing someone who's a real life person, there's going to be the challenges with that. But it was very distracting to me at first. It wasn't until I found myself really consumed in the characters and believing what was happening was in episode 2 when she's looking in the mirror after her teeth have been removed and she's just weeping. I was like, damn. I was like tearing up. I felt so heavy-hearted and heartbroken for her, and that's when I was like, Joey King, you got this. Okay, I'm ready to go for the ride now. What's really interesting about where we're at in the story as well, is that this is really a coming of age story for Gypsy, because she's interested in all these things that teenagers are interested in. She's interested in boyfriends and kissing, and she's at the point where she's wanting to rebel more from these restrictions from her mom by like sneaking sips of sugar. And all of these feelings are so normal, but they're super intensified for Gypsy because she's so restricted and kept from making her own choices. We really see her perspective shift as well in the moment where she finds out from the doctor outside of her little area that she's not allergic to sugar. Just her body language completely changes, and you see that as she's maturing, a lens is being like cleared and she's seeing what's actually going on. Also as well, when her mom was holding her teeth away from her until the awards ceremony, and then she was like, your teeth, just to make her look like a good mom, you could just feel like Gypsy's voice was like in her face. She was like, what? Like, you had these the whole time? Why didn't you give them to me? You know, jacked up. But it really seems that Gypsy is coming to terms with the lies. Same with Dee Dee though. You can really see the love that Gypsy has for her mom. She wants to protect her mom, and you know, there's that moment in the doctor's office. She doesn't want to tell on her. She doesn't want her mom to get in trouble. That moment they're on stage for the Child of the Year award as well, and the Dee Dee saying all these super sweet things to Gypsy. You can just see Gypsy is so filled by that. There's a major codependency going on here. We also have Chloe Sevigny, probably saying that wrong, who plays Mel. You know what? I think actually Mel might be fabricated just for the show, but I think she's based off of like people. And while I really liked her character and the way that Chloe Sevigny played her, I did not like the way that she was written into the show. She felt just very like placed. She is opposite from Dee Dee in almost every single way fundamentally. Even at one point she mentions how she can tell when people are bad and she knows everything about her neighbors, but clearly she doesn't. To me, that there's just too much obvious foreshadowing there, and she was just placed to be an opposing voice to Dee Dee. Her character to me becomes a little bit more worked into the plot though once she believes Dee Dee and kind of sympathizes with her after Gypsy has the frosting at the party, has to go to the emergency room, and you see that shift in their relationship at that point. But I was like, okay, yeah, this is better now. But at first it was just like, I don't know. I didn't like the writing. And again, it's Chloe does an amazing acting job. It wasn't the acting, it was just the writing. We have Anna Sophia Robb, I don't know, but she plays Mel's daughter, who's just kind of a typical teenager, and she smokes pot and has a boyfriend and is getting a stick and poke in her room, just like kind of normal teenager. The hero of the story, for sure so far though, is Dr. Chandra, and I don't know if she's actually real, if she's based off of someone specific, but damn, she is a badass. She is smart as hell and super smooth at getting to Gypsy by playing into the attention that the mom is seeking. But it's just another heartbreaking moment when she's trying to get Gypsy to drink the Coke, and you just see the fear on Gypsy's face. This show really makes me wonder too how Gypsy slipped through the healthcare system, because I mean, Dr. Chandra recognized something was off and she investigated into it, but even before that she had her salivary glands removed and there was nothing wrong. So how did that happen? Makes you think about other kids that this is possibly happening to in the system, and just like it really reveals a lot of flaws in our healthcare system. Overall though, I would say I really like the show. It gives intelligence towards the audience, assuming that if you already know what's happening, the way it jumps through time, it's very interesting. But also it kind of, if you don't know anything about the case, then you can watch this and feel just as informed. Okay, but the biggest issue that I do have with this show is Hulu's description of the plot. So here is the quoted description. Gypsy Blanchard is trying to escape the toxic relationship she has with her overprotective mother. Her quest for independence opens a Pandora's box of secrets, which ultimately leads to murder. Okay. One thing needs to be cleared. Dee Dee is not overprotective. Dee Dee is abusive. She is drugging her daughter. She is mentally and emotionally scarring her. The word overprotective does not give credit to what the situation is, and it makes it dumbed down like it's just a regular mom and teenager, with the mom being a little bit overprotective. This is a woman who is exploiting her child for attention and disguising it with love. This is abuse. I look forward to watching the rest of the series though. So far it's really good. If you haven't heard of this case before, I really recommend looking into it. The Act is on Hulu and new episodes are streaming every Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content if you want, or not. It's fine.